mind led me to you, and now my eyes do see your face, and this heart's filled with your love by your precious, precious grace. And you are love beyond compare. Each place I am, I find you there. Please keep me ever close to you in your heart of love. Om Satchitananda. Om Satchitananda. From winter is born the spring, giving life to all unseen. Summer's sun bakes the bread for autumn's harvest. Your wind moves every breath, your water quenches thirst. Your earth gives our feet a place for your dance of love. Om Satchitananda. Om Satchitananda. So many words and tunes you bring, so many songs for me to sing. And in this heart your joy does ring with such happiness. May pure thoughts fill up my mind. I lay all actions at your feet, and may my words be one with you and your song of love. Om Satchitananda. Om Satchitananda. Oh yes, my mind led me to you, and now my eyes do see your face, and this heart's filled with your love by your ever precious grace. And you are love beyond compare. Each place I am, I find you there. Please keep me ever close to you in your heart of love. Om Satchitananda. Om Satchitananda. Om Satchitananda. Om Satchitananda. Om Satchitananda. Om Satchitananda.
Good morning. The published topic of this is For the Love of God, Part 2. I'm not sure that's what we're going to discuss, but we'll try. We do so many things, or so many things happen in this world, all for the love of God. People are saying they're doing things, they help other people, they volunteer, because they want to be the person that they feel is their religious person. They also go to war, they take advantage and say it is in the name of God. I mean, we go back all the way to the Crusades. How many wars were waged because of God? It wasn't really, but they convinced themselves they were. One of the things we have to do when we say for the love of God, what we do, we have to define God. what is your definition of God? Because I'm sure we all have a different one. They have similar points, but we all have our own very specific idea of what we think of when we think of God. And if we don't like the word God, we have a specific idea in our, maybe not specific, but a very semi-clear idea to ourselves what we mean by something greater than ourselves. In Vedanta, we call that, as Jayanti so beautifully sang today, Sat Chit Ananda. Absolute truth, absolute knowledge, and absolute bliss. Now, if you notice, this does not have, these are concepts, these are not forms, they're not personalities, they are concepts that we feel are attainable. But these concepts can manifest themselves in the material world with forms and personalities. We've had Jesus, we've had Buddha, we have Allah, we have Krishna, we have all of the different forms of God that can be worshipped. And each one personifies a certain aspect that appeals to our nature. In the temple here, we have the picture of Buddha as the young prince, when he's renouncing everything and going off to find, is it fullness or emptiness? What he defined as going beyond this world to peace. On this side, we have Jesus as the good shepherd. Jesus now personified the love for all humanity and self-sacrifice. Each one of these aspects of God personifies a certain trait, as I say. But we have to decide for ourselves what our own idea or ideal of God is. Now in AA, it's a higher power. All of these things are true. None of them are false. None of them are right or wrong. They are. And each one of them is an effective way of reaching the goal, which in Vedanta we say is realizing our own innate divinity as one with the universal divinity, recognizing the oneness of all existence, and beyond existence, the fact that there is just one. Not two, we can't say anything more, there's one. So, since you're all sitting here in the Vedanta temple, I'm going to, and we're going to discuss our version, okay? I'm not changing your version. Swami Akhandananda stated it very, very simply, and it's almost too simple. He said that when we decide on a concretized form or idea, he said they can be personified in Swamiji, Holy Mother, and Ramakrishna. Now, Swamiji personifies, gives the message, service and love. Love and service. Love and serve, you will find God. Holy Mother, to accept everything. And Ramakrishna, to transcend everything. Okay, sounds really easy, doesn't it? Yeah, But not one of these things is easy. Okay, to love and serve. Okay, who do we serve? What do we serve? How do we do it? Where do you start? Because we're going to discuss it in our terms. We're all people who are living on this human form, in this human life. And if we're supposed to realize this stuff, How do we do it? Okay. We start by maybe volunteering, serving our family. Serving the members of your family. Now, I don't mean, bring them breakfast in bed every day, but be there for them and be helpful. Help each other. Do everything that you do as a family or for anyone in your family, your children or whoever, even the pets, with love. Not like, oh, Lord, do I have to do this again today? That's like, for the love of God. That's not for the love of God. Do those things with love in your heart. And pretty soon you will find that your heart expands and there will be more people included. You'll do it for, your neighbors will be people that you meet and you feel drawn to. You will feel like, I want to do something. I like them, so I'll do a little. And the more your heart expands, the closer you are to God. Because as soon as your heart expands to that point where you include everyone that you meet, everyone that you see, as yourself, as mine, then you have already reached a pretty high point, because that recognizes the unity of existence. Okay, so that one sounds pretty simple, doesn't it? But how about Holy Mother? To accept everything. What do you mean, everything? I mean, okay, does everything mean everything? Like the guy who just cut me off in the for a parking space? Do I have to accept him? Do I have to accept all the things that I find odious in the world with people's behavior? Well, in one way you do. Now, when I say accept, you accept the fact that it is in this world of Maya. You accept the fact that there is good and there is bad. But it doesn't mean that you don't act when you can. It means that you accept. Like the AA thing said, God grant me the ability to accept the things I cannot change, to change the things I can. And here's the corker, the wisdom to know the difference. The wisdom to know when you are imposing your will instead of a larger will on changing things. Because the one thing that you really, the only thing you can change is yourself. One of our nuns was teasing me this morning, and I said, well, I don't think I'm going to talk on For the Love of God. She says, no, you're going to talk on Get a Hold of Your Mind and Get Going. And that's true, because that is where we have to start. We look at ourselves, our motives, and we accept and forbear, but we do know there is evil in the world. The people and the things that we see as evil are also ignorance. It's ignorant people trying to become free or happy. The same thing that impels us to look for God. They're just taking a kind of a detour, kind of a big detour. So, accept everything. But as I say, it doesn't mean to not act. And then we get to the ultimate view, to transcend everything. And this is where we achieve absolute freedom and absolute bliss. When we transcend this world of opposites, where we can become one with everything. It's not easy. Because one of the ways they always say in Vedanta is to practice neti. What is eternal, what isn't? What's changing, what isn't? And when you stop and look at everything that you do, every thought that you have, every emotion that you feel, and you analyze it, this is getting a hold of your mind, and it's really tiresome sometimes. You analyze, is that forever? Is that eternal? And you will find that, without exception, every emotion that you have, every thing you experience, every thought that you have changes. They're always changing. And if you want to try it, try and sit for what used to be 5 minutes and try and meditate to clear your mind without a thought. 5 minutes is really long because you will try it for 2 minutes. Just close your eyes and try to not think, feel, or sense anything. I'm seeing some smiles out there because I know what happens. You sit there and you try to clear your mind, and pretty soon you know, well, I'm not quite comfortable. My chair, maybe if I shifted a little, I'd be more. Already, that changes. All of that is changing things. To transcend this world of senses is probably the final, well, I think it is the final step in God realization. I call it God. Okay. As I say, you have your own definitions. But when we get frightened by that, because we go, but what's going to happen? What kind of chaos can happen if I don't know what's going on? What's next? Well, what about me? I mean, what about my integrity and what about my being? Where will I be? We all have those thoughts. Those are perfectly normal things because we cling to this body-mind complex. We cling to it because we think that's what's real. But now, how many of you look like you did 10 years ago? How many of you have the same joy when you see a bicycle that you had when you first got one? How many of you have that emotion of discovery when you find a new plant or a new bird that you had never seen before? How many of you still have that great joy? Because all of these things change. They're changing absolutely every single second. We're not the same person we were 10 years ago. We're not the person we were when we were 5 years old. Yeah, there's similarities. There's little things that kind of ride through. And those are the things that we call our ego, which keep us attached to these things. But to transcend that, to become one with everything and know you are. Ramakrishna, at one point in his life, now, this is an extreme example. Someone was out cutting the lawn in Dakshineshwar, and he was feeling the pain of the blades getting cut. This is transcending your small self, where you feel everyone's pain and you feel everyone's joy. Hard. Jesus did the same thing. He felt the pain of the people, and he felt their joy. Buddha taught everyone to overcome this, He sent people, when people would come and say, please, please help me, my son is dead. And he would do it a different method. Go find me one house where no one has died. And by the time they'd gone through the whole town, they've said, all people die, eventually. And that brings a certain acceptance and peace. You know what the inevitable, well, we all know it. Once you get born, guess what the end is? Even though we pretend it's not going to happen. We had some people, some devotees who said, if I die. Now, I used to laugh at that, but I don't anymore. Because in one sense, they're right. The Atman and the divinity within you never dies. It lasts forever. So you can honestly say, if. We know we won't. As we repeat in the beginning of lectures, lead me from death to immortality. That's where we're heading, death to immortality, because everything has an ending. As one of our Swamis said, all compounded matter disintegrates. And it's true. We're living in a world of the senses and supposedly solid pieces of matter. But now Einstein knew it. What's the difference? It's all energy. Every bit of this is energy. It's not solid. It's not. Swami Brahmananda, one of Ramakrishna's spiritual sons, said, show me the demarcation where matter begins and spirit. Show me where spirit begins and matter ends. There is no demarcation. He would see this solid pillar as nothing but energy and spirit, which is what Einstein knew it was. So it's hard to believe, but we all are doing this every day of our lives. We are accepting this world that we see as permanent. Oh, it changes a little, but it's going to be here forever. We get enough hints that maybe it won't, but we still feel that this is our solid reality. And so, how do we bring this back for the love of God? For the love of God, we can try and transcend this. What we really want to do for total freedom, and I think we all want freedom. We want freedom from ourselves, from our situations. If you had to say what you wanted most out of life, what would it be? Think about that one too. Free from all of this, or to love and be loved, or to know everything. They're all valid reasons. But in the end, we have to transcend this in order to have eternal life. So, as Akhandananda said, no, it's really easy. No, Sarvagatananda, I'm sorry. We serve and love, we accept everything, and we transcend everything. Well, everyone's looking at me like, what? Yeah. Once you get to the point where you have negated everything that is not permanent, and that's everything that we see or feel. Once you get to that point, and you still can see, you see that everything is one. Everything is God. Everything is that divine energy. Every person you see is basically yourself. And I think we all know that because we only see in others what we have in ourselves. And so everything that when we get there, then you can start affirming everything that you see. Everything that you see is God, is divine. Every person you see, no matter what they look like, no matter what their circumstance, they are God in a form. Okay? You can look at every experience in the world, everything that's on the news. It is God's play. Now remember how kids played in the sandbox? They build things and they smash them. And it has no effect on them. Okay, if we take the attitude that this is God's play, this is Maya, then they build us up, they smash us down. And none of us are hurt because the Divine Mother is always taking care of us. We just get up again and play some more until we don't want to. And then we say, take me home, okay? I'm tired of the sandbox. And that's when we realize God. We have transcended everything. When we get tired of it. As long as we have one desire to do one more thing. Well, if I just finish that sewing project that I've been working on for the last 25 years, then I could go. As Swami Chaitananda once said, he said, how many of us, if God came right up to you right this minute and said, come with me, like Jesus said to his disciples, follow me, how many of us would go? Or how many of us would say, okay, but just 1 second. Give me a minute. I think we'd find that most of us would do the give me a minute. We say we want freedom, we want love, we want that feeling of total expansion, like when you first fell in love and your heart is just going, because it's including everything, because you don't think of yourself. You're thinking of the person or the object that you love. And your heart grows so big that it can include everything. You walk down the street and you're smiling at everyone. Everyone's a friend. You're happy about anything. You can, stumble, fall down, and get right back up just laughing. I think many of us have experienced that when the very first time you have a crush on someone in junior high or high school, life is good. If we can continue that for God, that's what we do for the love of God. We do it. We love God with that kind of intensity, with that kind of acceptance, with that kind of expansion. Every time we get angry or jealous, our heart goes and closes in on itself, gets tight. We're closing people out. Every time we have one of those negative emotions, this is why I think our nun was saying we have to get a hold of our minds. That's what we have to do. We have to check those emotions, know what we're doing. Every time we get competitive to the point of unhappiness if we're not the winner. Now, I was semi-addicted to the Olympics this last week or so. And I watched all of these athletes, and almost all of them, they're competing against their friends. They compete against them in all year long. And they all of them had this attitude when they blew it. They just went, it was a bad day. It didn't detract from their self-worth. It didn't detract from their idea of themselves. It was a bad day. We all have good days and bad days. But the one that impressed me the most was this 44-year-old man who was snowboarding. And he got down and he almost made the podium. And he lost, came in fourth. And someone, well, how do you feel about that? And he went, I've never been happier in my life losing than I am today. And I'm never going to quit. But see, he does it for the love of the sport, the love of the feeling he gets. So everything is good. Everything is good about it. When we start to compare and worry about other things, like Swami Jnana Yogananda says, we can't know God or love God until we know and love ourselves. And that's when you can have the freedom to be open, accept defeat, accept whatever happens. It does not touch you. When you are totally identified with that divinity within yourself, then you can truly love God. And you can achieve that freedom. Achieve that freedom, achieve that expansion. I don't want to say be happy, but be content and be full. When Buddha said emptiness and fullness are about the same thing. You can be full of the divinity, or you can be empty of the world. But fullness, to be full of the divinity. There's just two little quotes. My lectures are very short. Two little quotes that I would like to read, and I'm going to put on my glasses because I can't see. If we get to the point where we do see everything as God, or as much of the time as much as possible, then we will experience what Ramakrishna said, that this world itself is a mansion of mirth. You will be happy even when not so good things happen, because you know they're temporary. Everything ends. Everything has an ending. Everything is temporary in this world. And this is another quote from Sardananda, I think. And always remember, as you think, so you become, so you act. All thoughts of love help in expanding the self, as do all thoughts of anger and jealousy lead to contraction. By serving, the heart is purified. By serving, the heart expands. By such service, one can see oneself in all. This self-realization alone brings in the love for all. Nowadays, everyone is talking about universal love. But universal love only happens after knowledge of yourself, the self, your divinity. So, we have to first use our minds and discrimination, use our emotions to discriminate of what our real self is. We're not the person who, one time I cut one of our neighbors off at a parking space at Vaughn's. I was mortified. We are not that person. It comes out every once in a while, but we're not that person. But when we analyze what we do every day and how we could do better, not better how other people say you should do, but better with your own idea of who you are, not conforming to other people's ideals, not conforming to other people's ideas of what they would like you to be. Looking deep inside yourself and saying, who do I want to be? How do I want to live? How do I want to manifest my divinity? And at that point, I think our spiritual life has pretty much begun. Now, that's it. Jayanti?
Lead us from illusion to truth and wisdom's sight. Lead us from the darkness that fills up the night. Lead us from death to endless life, to your heart of love, to your eternal light. Reach us through every veil that seems to hide your face, beyond our every ignorance, beyond both time and space. Give us strength and courage through thy blessed grace, and fill our hearts with your love by your sweet, compassionate face. Om Tat Sat Om, Om Tat Sat Om, Om Tat Sat Om, Om Tat Sat
I have a few announcements. Wednesday, we will have the Trigunatita's life again here in the temple at 5 o'clock. Saturday, we will have the gospel class here at 5 o'clock with Swami Chidbrahmananda. He'll be back then. And Sunday the 8th, we're going to have Swami Dhyana Yogananda, who gave last week's lecture. And this time he's going to talk about when life feels like too much, which I think some of us feel periodically. Karma Yoga Day, put this down on your calendar. It's going to be the 21st of this month. And Karma Yoga Day is, everyone's welcome to come up and do some work here. All they get is lunch. That's your pay. And we'll have a list of jobs down in the convent. You come to the convent, other side of the parking lot, around 9:15, get a cup of coffee and look through the list and see which ones appeal to you or don't appeal, and we just say we need to do it. And actually, it's kind of fun, everyone working together. Somehow work doesn't seem as odious when you have a whole group of people doing it. So mark that on your calendar, 9:15 on the 21st of March. Okay. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.